Well, we have an update in the Virginia Giuffre versus Prince Andrew story. Yesterday, a federal judge rejected a request from Prince Andrew to throw out the lawsuit that accuses him of having sex with an underage Virginia Giuffre. The judge ruled that it was an open question as to whether the prince should be released from liability over the alleged abuse by Virginia Giuffre. But Giuffre alleged in a lawsuit that she and Prince Andrew had sex under the direction of Ghislaine Maxwell, Jeffrey Epstein's former partner and associate of Epstein's. She's been, obviously, we know that Maxwell has been, she's been actually charged or not even convicted of grooming young girls for Epstein and his wealthy inner circle. Andrew has argued that the case should be dropped over a 2009 civil settlement that Giuffre had agreed to with Epstein for $500,000. So this is an interesting update. So this shows that they're now saying that Virginia Giuffre is free to pursue this lawsuit against Prince Andrew. There was a question about it in 2009. The deal that she struck with Epstein when she settled the case for $500,000 was that she would not go after any of the named and potential defendants.
Right.
And
right.
so
basically
Prince
anybody.
Andrew, Right. And so Prince Andrew was arguing, his team was arguing that, well, he was one of those potential defendants that she would not be allowed to go after. So the judge disagreed and said, no, it looks like she's still free to pursue this lawsuit against Prince Andrew.
Right. It was filed in New York, whereas the settlement had been reached in Florida. So, the federalized nature of our system may have benefited Virginia here. Also, a picture is worth 1,000 words. Like, it shows the value of having that evidence. So nobody can say that she was not in the room with Prince Andrew. Like, so that picture that we have seen so many times throughout the coverage of this scandal, despite the fact that there have been dozens and dozens of victims, that's the one that there's some evidence that remains for it. Maybe a child sex trafficking ring that started now would leave more of a digital trail. But back then it was if you weren't bringing your own camera, which of course child sex trafficking victims are not, then it's very hard to get physical evidence, and nobody wants to believe these women, particularly because the trauma that they go through often leads them to have lives that careen out of control. And those out of control lives leave all sorts of reasons that people then point to say, well, that person's not credible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and this, I think, should call into question sort of the ethics of and really the law around allowing lawsuit settlements to basically shield other potential defendants. Mm-hmm. It really, I mean, that part of this whole case, in researching it, that part is really bothersome. Like, how can you say, well, okay, now I'm going to settle with you, but you can't go after any of my cronies, my friends? That shouldn't even be allowed. Now, they can't block, from any criminal activity. So she would be free to, the prosecutors would be free, or the DA would be free if they had enough evidence to charge criminally anybody that was involved. But even then, in a civil suit, there shouldn't be this, well, I'm not only, not only are we going to settle, but now everybody else is fine too. That just doesn't seem like that's a good thing. And this does, this was settled in Florida. New York State clearly is saying, hey, you don't get to make rules for us.
Right.
We'll make our own rules. Yeah,
for sure. So looking forward to seeing this go forward, because we're still lacking a lot of answers in this scandal.
And this should make other people kind of quake in their boots a little bit. I mean, she's accused quite a few men of being involved in this ring. And some of them, I think, might have passed by now, but some of them are still alive. And maybe if she's able to go after Andrew, then she's able to go after others as well. And then what does this mean for the royal family? What does this mean for Prince Andrew? What is this? I mean, he's going to be reeled into the spotlight with this. The royal family is going to be reeled in the spotlight with this. They're not going to be happy. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens and how they treat him. And
the courage that she has shown in going after this power center is inspiring. And tomorrow on Rising, the Daily Poster's Andrew Perez is here to break down new reporting around Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg's dark money group. Then Amelia Pang will be here to discuss her new book, Made in China, A Prisoner, an SOS Letter, and the Hidden Cost of America's Cheap Goods.
Well, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so that you never miss an episode. And we will see you guys tomorrow.
See you then.